Welcome to Back on the Broomstick,
A modern witch's spoken word grimoire.
where two witchy friends from way back are reconnecting to their pagan roots after a long period of mundanity.
We're rewalking the path of the wise and trying out all the latest spells, rituals, and magical theory in today's witchcraft and pagan practices.
So grab your wand and your incense
Your cauldron and your crystals
and join us
as we get
back on the broomstick.
Hi, and welcome to Back on the Broomstick. I'm Layla, and this episode comes out on the Sabbath of Beltane. Between Beltane's wild green fire and the golden blaze of Litha, there's a whole season where the world feels absolutely magical. The land itself is humming with creation, desire, growth, and possibility. The sun rises early in the day and lingers late to illuminate beautiful nights. We're talking about magic between the spokes, that living current of early summer where passion becomes action, abundance begins to ripen, and we consciously choose what we want to feed with our energy.
And I'm Chelle, and what a time for action. I love this time of year. We've talked about it a billion times. I love that everything is flowing and growing, including us, and I love that. But before we talk about Beltane, couple things here. So we had our mail contest and we asked you all to send us mail to our new P.O. box, and that the first piece of mail we got, we would actually write out a personalized handwritten spell to that person and send it off back. But Layla, what happened?
Well, we've gotten a bunch of responses, but the very first letter was actually two. We
It
got
actually
two
was two.
on the exact same day. And rather than try and crunch numbers and figure out which one was actually received first, we decided to give both of them a letter. So those will be coming in the mail soon. Some of these postcards and letters were so cute and so creative that we just can't help but maybe possibly send a postcard or two back to a couple of you. Think of it as honorable mentions.
We don't do well at just picking one person. We never have.
No. And you guys are amazing. It's hard to say no. You're pretty awesome. So thank you so much for sending everything in. We appreciate you participating in our race to bless our
Race.
mailbox.
This was a race. This
A
was a
race.
race. I don't know why I said the C word. It's a race. And we've had a blast with it to ourselves because for the first time in several years, we have had the opportunity to go down to the post office box together and
Yeah.
check it.
It has been very exciting.
Some guilt has been lifted off of me because I had some guilt always being the one to have that first. Woo, look what we got. So now I get to share that. And in the spirit of that, we've changed our P.O. box and I've alluded to some things on the Facebook group, but to address some questions and some hubbub and some whispers.
The big witch shoes in the room.
Yeah, to address the witch in the room here, I have left Salem, Massachusetts. I am no longer located there. I am back in the northern tier of New York, PA, and I love Salem very much, but it is not where I am currently located anymore.
That means that we get to do so many more things together, including traveling to Salem on occasion. There'll be some special events coming up later this year, so keep an eye out for that. But we get to do so many more ghost hunts and adventures and festivals and workshops and, of course, our beloved Crystal City Circle community here as well.
Which I love you guys. I mean, everybody at Crystal City has welcomed me with open arms and it's been fabulous. So shout out to the CCC.
And I know we mentioned Crystal City a lot, and a few of you have reached out and asked how you can form communities of your own. And this is a topic that is near and dear to our heart because this is not the first time Chelle and I have participated in creating a coven or a community or a local group. And it's something that we really enjoy doing. So we'd like to share with you guys some of the best practices and best ways on how to do that. So we're talking to a special guest to see if maybe she'll come on and share some wisdom on how she started a group in her area. Stay tuned for
Stay
that if
tuned
you're
for
interested.
that.
So having Chelle around is going to lead to so many more new cool adventures.
I think that's another reason why I'm really feeling this Beltane season, fresh, new. I am surrounded by so many living, growing things currently. Some of them make me sneeze, not all of them do.
Speaking of, what has just popped out on the lawns everywhere around us in an overabundance?
It's definitely not grass because I see nothing green. All I see is seas of yellow.
Dandelions. Exactly. One of our nine sacred flowers is blooming everywhere in this late spring, early summer season of Beltane. And what did we do, Shell?
Now, because we're together now, we can do fun things like this. So Layla had me out in the yard picking dandelions.
Yes, I did indeed. We got out our cute little baskets. We put on our best little country pinafores. Okay, no, we didn't. It was t-shirts
No,
and
we had muck boots on. Who you kidding?
and we went out and spent a lovely afternoon picking the heads off a dandelion. And we used those to make some dandelion honey.
Which, if you've never done before, which I had never done that process before, I want you to go into this eyes wide open. Dandelion honey is delicious. It is wonderful. It is easy to make, but you better be in it for the long haul when it comes to picking off those petals.
That's true. That's true. The recipe involves just the yellow petals, and there's a trick to it. You'll figure it out. The green parts can be a little bitter, so you want to take those off when you make your infusion of the flower petals. And dandelion honey is not technically a honey. It's actually a syrup, and there's an awful lot of sugar involved.
Definitely not for the sugar sensitive person.
It looks and tastes like honey. Some people do call it vegan honey. It's pretty good stuff, and we did make it, and magically, it can be used for all sorts of things. It captures that sunlight, that power of sun, something that you can capture now to get that energy of Beltane, that lush, ripe, fertile energy of creation that you have in Beltane. You can capture that in these dandelion honey jars and bring that with you through the whole season. And this stuff will keep for a very long time if you put it in a cool, dry place. So you can store it. And then in the fall or the winter, when you need a little shot of sunshine and joy, you can pull out that dandelion honey and it feels like late spring all over again.
Give yourself that little mood boost.
Exactly.
Yeah, and again, if you can't consume honey, it is a very good alternative. And I was absolutely thrown back by how it tasted exactly like honey, but had no honey product in it.
Yeah, very surprising how much it tasted like a light wildflower honey. And I really like the idea of something that simple. It is time consuming, but it's pretty dang simple. Something that simple to make using that in spells. So now you've made something that literally looks like sunshine and happiness that you can put into spells. You can stir that into your coffee or your tea. It tastes like honey or sugar, if that's what you like, in your coffee or in your morning beverage. And now you're stirring in that joy for your day to start your day off right. Or you can use it in a spell. You can use it to make blessings. You can use it
You
to,
can use it as an offering, yeah. Because that was one thing I was thinking, because, with Beltane here, it is kind of that season of the fairies time. And one of the things I thought of when we were doing this is that this would make a good offering to the Fae.
yeah, I agree. This time, Beltane to Litha for me is all about land spirits. And I see the Fae and dragons very much as spirits of the land and spirits of place. And so I think that making this as an offering to them is a beautiful way to give back. And that reminds me, we have another kind of honey. We started back on, was it Ostara? Right around Ostara,
Right around Ostara, yeah.
we started some infused honey. Shell got some really beautiful honey, and we had some herbs, and we started some infused honey. And we've been using that as part of our daily intentional witch maxing
Witch
moments.
maxing.
Mine are right on my desk where I do my daily tarot pulls, where I do my journaling, and I turn them every day. I have a big jar that I've been infusing as a spell to give away as a hand fasting present. And it's been really nice to every day turn that jar upside down and watch the herbs very slowly slide to the top with the air bubbles. It's almost like a lava lamp.
But now we're to the point where now that it's Beltane, we need to strain our honey
That's
and,
right.
and get it prepared for actual usage.
And so those herbs make a fabulous offering to the land spirits, to the fae. If you want to take that out, now you've got these gorgeous herbs that have been soaking in honey and your intentions for weeks or maybe a month. And now you can take that and give that as an offering to the land. And that's something organic that'll nourish the land. It'll compost in, it'll feed the little critters and the insects. So it makes a beautiful offering.
Not to mention it'll please your fairy spirits.
Yeah, it looks good, tastes good, all that good stuff. So, honey is definitely, this time of year because the bees are awake and active, I always turn to honey. It makes me immediately go to bees and honey. So, plus we've been doing a lot of that dandelion honey lately.
If you want to see some awesome photos of our process, check out the Facebook or the Instagram because we did post some photos of our dandelion honey process.
Yes. Now, Beltane is a Sabbath on the Wheel of the Year. It's a fire festival, and this celebration is about life. We're celebrating fertility and creation.
Fertility of the land, fertility of nature.
That's right. Of the mind, of creativity, fertility of action, fertility of abundance in your life.
And it can just be fertility of you changing course. Maybe you're at a fork in the road, and Beltane and the new action and the new movement and the new growth has given you perspective on which way to turn in that fork. Whatever the case may be, this is almost like a rebirth of the year, a rebirth of life.
Ooh, I love that. I love that phrasing of it, a rebirth of you.
It is a rebirth of you. And Beltane is also a good time to think about yourself. We talk about love and lust and fertility and sensuality. People forget to apply those things to themselves. Take a moment to love on yourself and
Yes.
create. Everybody wants to do a damn love spell. Okay, well, do a damn love spell on your own self. Love yourself for once. What do they always say? You can't love other people until you first learn how to love yourself. Hey, now's a good time. Hop on that horse.
I love that, especially for this time of year because this is that growing sunlight. This is when you want to feel that sun caress your skin. You're wanting to get out into the world and to be your happiest in your own skin and in yourself. So do those glamour magic spells. Be in front of the mirror. Tell yourself, look yourself right in the eye in the mirror and tell yourself all the things that you love about yourself, all the things that are amazing about you. Wear that amazing outfit. Don't save it for a special occasion. Just wear
In
it.
the wise words of Ani DeFranco, tell yourself you are a righteous babe.
Yes. And mean it. And mean
And
it.
mean it. And
Buy
mean it.
yourself some perfume, wear it, put it on yourself with sigils. I know we talk about that a lot, but another really wonderful thing to do, especially this time of year, is get yourself some flowers. And we talked about the language of flowers a little bit. There's the whole Victorian language of flowers that's pretty easy to find online. Find some flowers that say happiness and joy and success to you and bring those into your home. Grow them from seed if you like, but have a lot of flowers around you this time of year. They are a way to celebrate sensuality, celebrate yourself, celebrate the blossoming energy within you in a very magical yet very subtle and quiet way.
Now, Layla, you know how I love left turns here.
I love them.
So
Let's
I
go.
just thought of something, and it isn't something that we discussed prior. So I am totally putting you on the spot for this.
I love it. What
But
is it?
so, we're talking about, the beauty magic, the flower magic. So what would be our advice for all of our male witch friends out there that maybe don't find that connection with flowers, or they don't see beauty in themselves in the same way in which we are referencing? What are some things that we can tell our male witch friends to do? Probably my biggest thing would be go out and connect with nature. If you don't connect with that flower energy, go connect with that tree energy. What are some
Yeah,
things you would suggest? to our
Honestly,
male friends.
I didn't differentiate. I don't differentiate between our male and female or other friends when I say to do these things. I think everybody should stand in front of the mirror and say they love themselves. I have no conception in my mind as to whether that's going to be better for one or another. I think everybody should do that. I think that there's lots of people that are male leaning that like flowers. And if you're not someone who likes flowers, maybe plants are more your thing, maybe indoor plants or like you said, maybe trees. But I didn't really think gender at all when I was thinking like look at yourself in the mirror and say you love you. Get that cologne or get that perfume and write sigils on yourself, no matter who you are or how you want to present. I think that's for everybody.
I'm not saying that I thought that because I did not, but I'm just thinking of
If flowers aren't your thing or if mirrors aren't your thing, what's
right,
something you can
right,
do instead of that?
right.
Okay, I
People
get
who have
you.
a hard,
Yeah,
or what about the groups of folks that have a hard time? Sometimes you just have a hard time looking at yourself in the mirror
that's a good point. That's a very
for
good
any
point.
reason.
Sure, yeah. Oh my gosh. One of the things I like to do, especially when I'm feeling like I don't want to look at myself in the mirror, get a picture of myself when I was a kid.
Ooh, good
99% of the
idea.
time, I'm not going to be mad at that picture of me as a kid. I'm going to look at that picture of me and be like, wow, what a cute kid I was. How amazing was that? There might have been shitty things going on, or if I was a teen, I might not have thought about myself good things. But looking back, I was like, damn, 18-year-old me was smoking. Like I was amazing, you know? And so get a picture of you when you were younger and look at that picture of you. That's still you. That's you. What would you say to that younger version of you? What do you want? What do you want that younger version of you to come away with? What would you tell that person? And say wonderful things to that person. Especially maybe you had a crappy childhood and you have a beautiful picture of you as a child. Say beautiful, wonderful things to that kid. Like, what would you want to have been said to you? So I guess that's what I would say. If you're someone who doesn't like flowers and you don't like mirrors and maybe glamour magic is too much putting yourself out there, I get that. Totally get that. Get a picture of yourself when you're a child and do that magic with that part of you.
Now, speaking of magical mindsets,
Yeah.
now I think that's what we want to focus on, especially for this particular period of time, because again, we're kind of in that liminal space. We're in that veil is thin period of time. This is a time to kind of keep this magical mindset going because everybody always forgets you've got that same energy that you have at Samhain going on right now. And you need to kind of think of things like, I always go back to divination, but spirit work is a good thing for right now. You got to focus on good things, focus on gifts, because as things are blooming and growing, those are gifts of nature. So what other gifts are you finding? Gifts don't necessarily come in the form of something wrapped up with a pretty red bow from a loved one. Sometimes the gift is the sun on your face after 7 days of rain, or maybe that gift is you got invited to a ritual this weekend, or whatever the case may be. But now is the time to look for the good, look for the wonderful, look for the gifts because they're there, but sometimes they're hidden.
I absolutely love that you brought up that the veil is thin this time of year. It's Samhain for our Southern Hemisphere friends, and it's Beltane for us. The veil is thin all over the world, not just in one little spot. So it's a different flavor. I think we've talked before about how I think you like to put it as it's more about ancestor work and that deep divination, a little bit more about loss in at Samhain. And here in the summer,
More like
almost
family
summer,
reunion.
yeah, it's a little more joyous, it's a little bit more about connections to the other side and less about maybe less about loved ones and more about the space between here and there is thinner.
But the introspection should be the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that kind of fits with this season and that introspection is mugwort. Now we're going to
Oh,
have
Lord.
this is another, I know. So we're going to do the PSA in just a second. So some of you can't use mugwort, but this invasive plant is about to start popping up all over where I live. And mugwort, if you're not allergic to it, is a fabulous herb for divination, for connecting with the other side, for crossing to those liminal spaces, for dream work. And that's something that's going to start sprouting up everywhere. Okay, give them the PSA, Shell.
You keep talking about mugwort all the time. I am going to literally try to get Kleenex to sponsor us, okay? Layla loves her mugwort like she loves her journaling.
I
I, on
do.
the other hand, I want to scratch my eyeballs out. I want to blow my nose until my brains come out my nostrils. Not everybody is able to be around certain herbs, or and it's not just mugwort. We talk about this a lot because I am super allergic and you love it so much, but this really goes with anything. We give you ideas, we give you spells, we give you different recipes, but you need to know what works with you and your body, what you are and are not allergic to, what you can and cannot consume. And don't listen to us when it comes to what you should and shouldn't consume, because like we're totally not doctors.
That's right. Not at all. We're just fabulous witches. So,
Really.
if you do, but mugwort is starting to come out. It is an invasive herb, so it's not something that you're going to want to grow in your garden.
Yeah,
It's
no.
crazier than mint or catnip, but you can pretty much find it in every ditch and hillside if you want some. And I have found from personal experience that even just picking it brings me very vivid dreams. And now, as you know, I'm a cannabis smoker and not a light one. I do smoke regularly. So some
Nuh-uh.
some people say that that will inhibit your dreams, and I don't necessarily find that to be true, but especially if I've been handling mugwort, my dreams are extremely vivid, very movie-like, almost like a full story. If I work with mugwort intentionally, I can kind of control those dream states, so it's very nice for setting an intention and going to sleep on it, and then having that very vivid dream about the intention that really helps to set the magic and set that energy out into the universe. So mugwort, because it's ripening this time of year and it's everywhere, and like you said, this is a time when the liminal is closer, when that other side is closer. So it's a fabulous herb to work with if you can for those
Yeah,
purposes.
because I don't get the same dream reactions because I can't sleep because I'm too busy clawing my eyeballs out
That's right.
and blowing my nose.
Mugwort can be put fresh or dried in a dream pillow. You can have it on your nightstand or under your pillow. You can smoke it. I do like to smoke mugwort. It is very calming. I find that it's a very good meditative herb. It is, for some people, it can be mildly psychoactive, very, very mildly.
And even though I don't partake, it can also be used in tea blends as well.
Yes. So that again, very magical herb, all about dreaming, which I find, summertime, what do they say? Summertime daydreams, right? Mugwort working with what's the god of dreams? Morpheus, working with Morpheus this time of year.
All I could think of was Freddy Krueger.
Not that god of dreams. But no, 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 no. I wonder if you could throw mugwort at Freddy Krueger and get him to go away. I don't want to
Right?
know. Thank you. Don't want to know. But so working with Morpheus and mugwort, daydreams, summer, lazy summer days, and it's a perfect time to use dreamwork to set intention.
Have a nice cup of tea of it before bed. Be damned that I'm saying this, but fall asleep with a journal next to your bed for when you wake up to plot this down. I only say that because dreams are fleeting. And if you don't write it down first thing when you wake up, 20 minutes it's gone and you have no idea what you dreamt.
I know everybody says that they're going to remember, and you never do.
You
It's
don't.
like they slip away like water. It's so hard to hold on to. But yeah, journal them. I love that you said that. Now, another wonderful meditation thing that I like to do in the summertime, especially out here where everything is flowering and usually going to get cut down pretty quickly anyway, is mandalas. I love to do geometric patterns, little meditative things out in nature. Everybody says to go touch grass when you need to chill out, when you need a little downtime, when you need to relax. But what better way than to go out, spend some time in nature, and just sit in one spot and maybe arrange some blades of grass and some flowers, sticks and stones, whatever you've got, into beautiful little geometric patterns. Please don't yell at me. Don't do this like out in the woods. You don't want to disturb animal homes or anything. But if it happens to be your yard or your neighbor's yard that you know is going to get cut down in the next day or so, it's not going to hurt anything. And they can be a very meditative way to connect with nature and with the outdoors. Maybe not for Shell. Would that make you sneeze?
It depends on what I touch.
Okay. So some things you could do and not touch. You could play a little fairy chess, make some pretty meditative mandalas in nature, and they wouldn't drive you to a sneezing fit.
pretty much.
Okay, cool. Well, we can experiment and find out. We'll just bring lots of tissues.
Now, speaking of picking things and being out in your yard and the beauty that you find out there, another fun thing that we've done for years and years and years to celebrate this season, and people think that this is just a Beltane thing. I assure you, we have done this in like mid-July.
Mhm.
Flower crown weaving. Flower crowns are a fun, wonderful way to kind of meditate and connect with nature energy and connect with flower power. Did I really just say flower power? I feel like I haven't said that
How
since like
old are you?
1988. I know, right? To connect with that flower power, but also, kind of doing that weaving magic, that knot magic. So it's like you're
Absolutely.
taking a whole bunch of different aspects and connecting it into one thing and making a beautiful crown.
I like crowns because they're fun and they're beautiful, but also because I like the power symbolism of it. How badass does it feel to take a beautiful crown and set it on your head, set it touching your third eye? It feels very magical, and it's very easy for me, maybe because it's metal or something on my third eye, on my crown chakra in that energy sphere. It helps to make it easier for me to get into magical headspace. So I love crowns for that purpose. And weaving them, you can weave in knot magic, you can weave in spell work, you can weave in flowers that are from your land to connect you closer to your land spirits. You can weave in flowers that you love or have magical meanings that are special to you. Or for, like you said, Shell, you don't have to just do this for Beltane. I see
Right.
crowns at Litha. You could just make a crown because you want to activate your crown, your third eye energy to a certain direction. So you would weave that energy and specific flowers into that crown and then wear it when you do your spell to better connect, your energy to the universe.
Well, and I'm a Gemini, I'm a May baby, and I've made myself a flower crown for my birthday that is well past Beltane. So again, not just a Beltane thing.
Yeah, I think they can be an all year round thing.
We've talked about making them in the process, you're just braiding flowers together. But I've had a couple people ask on the socials, they're like, oh, but the stems are so tiny and little. I always start a flower crown with dandelions because they got that like thick, rubbery, long stem that you can
Mm,
kind of get
I'm
things
not saying anything.
that you can kind of weave around
It's
and braid
Beltane, I'm
very
sorry.
easily. And you can braid other flowers with smaller stems within that.
Maybe we'll do a short video because it's hard to describe how I braid small flowers, but it's easy when you see it. It's basically a French braid. If you know how to French braid, you'll know how to braid in smaller flowers into a flower crown. So yeah, maybe we'll do a little video on it. But
Ooh,
it's a
because
lot
we're
of
together
fun.
and can.
That's right. You can also, to weave in short flowers, is if you make a base braid out of something like grasses or longer dandelions or grapevines, then once you have your base circlet, you can then weave in to those joints smaller flowers and like secure them in the crossings of the braid, if that makes sense.
What also is a fun twist of that is we came up with our 9 flowers. I'm going to now call them the power flowers, the flower power, the 9 flower powers for the Northeast. And what would be fun would be to try to find all of those and weave them into one crown. So you have a crown, or, in your local area, find your 9 sacred flowers and try to weave them into a crown. Again, if you're not allergic and all of that jazz, but you can select things that have a meaning to you. We found in the whole dandelion process all these wonderful magical properties of dandelions that would coincide with me using dandelions as a base for a crown. But use flowers that have some sort of magical or not meaning to you. Maybe your grandma always gave you daisies, and because we are in that liminal time, you want to weave daisies into your crown. Do it. Do what has meaning to you, not necessarily what you're reading out of a book.
Your personal meanings, your personal definitions that you assign to
Your
items, your
correspondences.
correspondences are going to be more powerful to your magical brain than anything else.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, in the theme of a magical crown, of weaving crowns, we also have a witch's ladder, a summer trinket witch's ladder spell that can be kind of one of those surreptitious nods to witchcraft. This looks enough like a beach craft or summer artsy craft thing that you could pretty much hang it anywhere and no one would really know that it's a spell.
Funny thing, I've actually taken them and I like to use for these things, I like to use that embroidery floss, the brightly colored embroidery floss. And I put like trinkets onto that. But I like to make them almost look like those like summertime friendship bracelets. And sometimes I'll tie them around my ankle and I will leave them until
Oh,
they naturally fall off, whether they rip off. I've taken 8,000 showers and they just disintegrate, whatever the case may be. But I tie it around my ankle and the duration of that spell is the duration it naturally stays on me until it comes off on its own.
I love that. So there are two different ways to do this spell. One is with charms in the way that Chelle just described as a bracelet or an anklet that you wear until it falls off. And another is with natural items that you find that becomes more of a wall hanging. So you can do it either way. And the directions are going to be the same, whether you do it in miniature as an anklet or with larger cord as a door, like a door
Hanging.
wreath or a door hanging or a wall hanging. So, what you're going to do is while you're on vacation or just over the summer, or as you gather things that you like, you're either going to
Sitting in your
go,
lawn chair in the yard soaking up the sun.
that's right. You can gather items that call to you, either charms that have specific meanings, or maybe you're walking on the beach and you find a chunk of beach glass and you find a piece of driftwood and a hagstone. And all these things start to speak to you. Maybe you find a couple of each. Once you get back into your magical space, get out 3 to 9 of these items. No more than 9. That's a little too many. Less than 3 is a little too few. So 3 to 9 items. Take these items in the cord. And like Chelle said, if you're going to use the floss, embroidery floss,
I got a pack of embroidery floss, rainbow colors. And what color I use, obviously I'm using correspondences for everything with this. So naturally, I'm going to do the same with the color. So let's say I'm doing something for self-love to find, the beauty within myself. Maybe I'm going to use like a red, a pink, and a white and kind of braid those together and braid in charms. So you're definitely, if you're going to use like embroidery floss or yarn or any sort of material like that, you're going to want to factor in color magic as well. The color correspondences, if you're doing something, obviously, love and things of that nature, you're going to want to lean towards those reds and pinks. Whereas, say if I'm doing something for abundance, I might use orange, money, green, so what colors you use is going to matter too.
choose your cord, like Chelle said, with your intention in mind, and then choose your items. You're also going to want to have a candle and some paper and pen and a burn safe dish. Light your candle, have your items and your cord, and think of what your intention is. What are your wishes? What are your desires? You should have one intention or wish for each item that you have. So if you've got 3 items, you're going to have 3 intentions or wishes, etc.
As far as your candle goes, Layla, if you're using colored string, if you can match the candle to the string color, that's fabulous. But white is always the default.
Yep. And if you can't match it and you don't have white, don't worry about it.
Just use whatever.
I've even written red on the side of a pink candle before. So,
Works.
whatever works, man. So take those items and you're going to charge them. You're going to want to think of what you're putting into them. So maybe you're going to want to create this wall hanging to bring that energy from the beach vacation that you had into your day-to-day life, that feeling of carefree happiness, joy that you felt on this beach vacation. So you're going to think about that while you're holding these items. Then you're going to take your slips of paper, and on one of them, you're going to write calm, joy, whatever you want to charge that item with. Put that word on that slip of paper and do that for each one. So again, 3 charms, 3 pieces of paper, a wish on each piece of paper. Then start braiding your cord. And when you get to the first charm, take the slip of paper that corresponds to that charm, light it on fire with your candle and let it burn in the burn safe dish. As it's burning in the dish, knot that charm or item into the cord while you're thinking of that energy that you want it to have. Whatever wish you're burning in that dish, think of that while you're knotting the item into the cord. When the paper has finished burning and the ashes are cool, rub those ashes on that knot and then continue on to the next one. Take this next slip of paper, light it on fire, let it burn in the dish while you go to the next item and knot that in to the cord and think of that wish. And again, take the ashes and put it on that knot until you get to the end. When you're out, put out the candle, thank the energies that you use to create the hanging or the charm, and then you can hang that in your home. And every time you look at it, that will bring the energy that you have put into each of those knots. Or if, like Chelle, you've created a piece of jewelry, you knot it on your ankle or your wrist. And what do you do from there, Chelle?
Generally what I've done, and I've found that they last half the summer, is I just, will tie it around my ankle, knot it on like you would like a little anklet, those little ones you do at summer camp or when you're on vacation at the beach. And eventually it just falls off. So you're creating that spell, you're weaving that spell, and that spell is working and churning, and everything has spit out into the universe by the time it has naturally fallen off of you.
And I love that. So the one that you keep in your home is there to kind of radiate that energy. So that works best for energies that you want to kind of hold on to and just kind of keep radiating in your space. The jewelry spell works really great for energies that are more action driven, that you
Right.
want to bring out with you into the world. Like you said, that you're
Right.
kind of churning and working. And then once that item falls off naturally, that's when you know that the spell has fully released to the universe and you should start seeing results.
Correct.
I like both of those. One's kind of that receptive, making my space be more energetic in a certain way. And one is that more active, I need to go out and do these things and get this energy.
In your face action.
Yeah, and that's that duality, that balance of this time of year, those different energies that you need. Maybe you need that more grounded home energy, or maybe you need that more active go out and get it energy. You can use these spells to kind of help balance you, just like the Beltane fertility creation balance requires, both energies to make that happen. That's a beautiful way to celebrate the season.
And it's a nice, fun activity as well.
The other thing with this time of year is bringing clarity, is bringing light to darkness. And I know a lot of us kind of need that right now. There's a lot of darkness in the world. Sometimes we're worried about telling truth from fiction or knowing what is right and wrong. And so the growing sun, using that energy, we can hold on to that energy of illumination to kind of follow that theme in our spell work, I guess. If you're looking for more clarity in your life, if you're looking to light up dark places, using sun energy, working with Ra and Amaterasu and all these different sun deities can be a great way to bring that strengthening, growing, let's illuminate the dark shit kind of energy into our lives.
Burn away the cobwebs, like the sun breaks in and burns away all of the cobwebs and the dysfunction and brings clarity to everything.
It is getting to be summer, but we still have a lot of cobwebs and shit to clear away from this past winter. So metaphorically, I guess, finishing that spring cleaning and kind of burning that away and getting rid of it.
And this Beltane is a fire festival, and I always have kind of looked at it as like, we talk about from Imbolc all the way through to Beltane, we talk about getting rid of the things that don't serve you and burning away what is old. I kind of look at this as like that final, how, you clean everything and you get everything wiped down, but you got to do that one last run through before all the company shows up. Beltane's like that final burning away of the bullshit, that final burning the rest of the cobwebs out, that final whoosh.
We were always told Beltane is sex, 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 sex. And hey, that's fun. And I love that part of it. But that always felt so shallow.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's sex and it's fertility. And that part is a lot of fun, but it's also a purification ritual.
Right.
There's also that aspect of these people needed their livestock and even themselves to be purified, to be cleansed of the darkness of winter so that they could be prosperous, so that they could be fertile and bountiful. There's like a life and death aspect to this that's much deeper than just the fertility aspect. And I love how you said burning away the cobwebs because I feel that the bonfire of Beltane is very powerful in that way.
Very purifying, and as it's meant to be. We spend that springtime, late Imbolc time to early Beltane time, getting things in order and reorganizing. But this is like Beltane's like the final purification, the final you're that seed that just burst out of the ground. You're not in the dirt anymore. Yes, you've been in the dirt, your roots have been growing, your seed broke open and you burst, but now is when you've burst out of the ground.
Yes. And the rest of that metaphor is about anything that you've been kept in the dark about, anything that you feel like you have been suppressed or kept in the dark. Now is the energy to grab onto that can pull you up out of the ground and
And
turn
burst you
that
through that.
and turn it into something beautiful. We were talking earlier about how the energy of the earth being receptive, right, doesn't just mean that she's passive. It does mean that she has to take in seeds, the good things, and the fertilizer, the shit, right? She takes in both of those, but she's powerful enough to transform both of those into something beautiful and nourishing and good. And that's pretty amazing, right? To take that deep dark being in the dark and coming up to the light energy. And
I think our listeners need to hear what your real words were, and that was you can grow flowers from seeds, but you can also grow flowers from shit.
I think it was something like that. I mean, you do still need the seeds. I don't think that's exactly what I said, but I hear the sentiment. So yeah, but that's the thing. Coming up out of the dark can mean so much. It's not just that the planet is coming out of the dark. It's that, maybe you were kept in the dark in something in your life, or maybe you've been suppressing some part of yourself, that now is the time to purify and to bring that up into the light.
But that doesn't mean you're done growing either.
No, no, absolutely not. This is the beginning of that season. This is the beginning of that growth season. And summer can be lush and luxurious. And there's that what's that old story about the ant and the grasshopper, where the grasshopper's like super lazy and enjoying summer? There's that idea that you can enjoy it, but it's also a powerful time, a powerful active energy. And it would be a shame to waste that. We need that action right now. We need to bring that light to places.
And don't forget divination.
Oh, you should pull a card. We haven't pulled a card in a while.
So let's pull a card from the Haunted Museum deck.
Oh, the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, Nevada. How did you get that deck, Chelle?
Well, I happen to know someone named Layla who just recently went out to Vegas and visited the Zach Baggins Haunted Museum.
Yes, I did. And we are actually going to have an episode on it, but that's not why I grabbed this. It just happened to be the closest deck.
But Layla brought me back the Haunted Museum deck. Okay, so Layla, in all of her glory, decides to pull the Two of Cups for Beltane.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. I just pulled right to it. Okay, perfect. That's perfect.
You
And
didn't
from
see that
such a
that was the
creepy
card?
deck. Well, I did see it, but I just literally like randomly pulled that card. I didn't think, I was like, oh, the two of, okay. Someone is doing a deck with famous pagans in it. And we were like, hey, we could be the Two of Cups. We, of course, are not the Two of Cups. But I was just thinking that it was funny that I pulled the Two of Cups. And we were just kind of jokingly saying we could be the Two of Cups. Anyway, but a Beltane. Yes, sorry. Side rant. But yes.
But it does really kind of fit with the premise because Two of Cups, that symbolizes that partnership, that harmony. Some people think it is the love card. It could be. For me, it's not personally.
It can be the besties card.
It can be the besties card, but it's definitely a card of a reciprocal working, two people working together, whether that be a business, a friendship, a romantic relationship. It definitely, in my mind, symbolizes a partnership, a relationship, a friendship, a romantic relationship.
In my professional tarot readings, I have always found that in very strong relationships, the Two of Cups shows up for them over and over and over again. It's not necessarily like the super romantic, flamboyant love, and they'll have those cards in their readings too. But the Two of Cups is the basis, I think, of any steady, really good partnership, whether that's a friendship, business, or romantic partnership. That Two of Cups is going to be in there somewhere.
And when I see the Two of Cups in a reading like that, I see that it's, you know how sometimes relationships can be one-sided. This
Oh, yeah.
this is very reciprocal where both sides of the coin are getting their needs met. So
Yes.
when I see this, I see everybody involved getting needs met.
Exactly. And that does fit perfectly with Beltane, not just because of the romantic aspect of it, but also because of the balance of energies, the duality of energies meeting each other's needs, whether that's all within you, whether that's you meeting your own needs, balancing yourself because you know your own energies, or finding that balance in a partner. It's that perfect blending. It's that beautiful blending. I love that. I love that. So, yay, Zach Baggins, The Haunted Museum. And yes, we are going to have a fabulous discussion about energy and items and whether that museum actually has anything good in it or if it's completely a cheesy hoax. Anyway, that's a different episode. So,
And I can't wait to talk about it.
it's going to be great. Now, this particular episode is kind of going a little long, so we do have a spell. It is called the Light in Dark Corners spell. And so that's going to be up on our website, and we'll have some pictures of that up on our social media coming up pretty soon. But basically, that's a spell to bring light to what is hidden or to bring justice.
So check that out on our website and on the socials. And don't forget to check out the dandelion honey process that we went through. Great pictures. And we've got some Beltane stuff to go celebrate, Layla. Let's get going.
We most definitely do. We've got a hand fasting coming up. We've got a Beltane celebration with our community. So many different things. I've got an anniversary to celebrate. So thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Back on the Broomstick. We hope you're enjoying your late spring, early summer lushness and abundance. And please share some of that with us in the form of likes, stars, subscribes, maybe even a little cheddar over at our benefactor page, because that really helps the show out, keeps us on the air so more people can find us.
And thanks, New York, for welcoming me back.
Aw, we do love having you nearby. We're going to have so many fun things coming up for you guys. So, and don't worry, Salem's not that far away. We have a lot of fun things planned there as well. So thank you all again for listening. We will see you next week. In the meantime, be wise, be wicked.
And for the love of all things bloomin', keep it witchy.